The chosen topic that I will discuss is Module 15 titled Transfer of Learning. So these are the learning outcomes. It explains how transfer of learning occurs. It identifies the factors that affect transfer of learning. And lastly, it applies principles of transfer in facilitating transfer of learning. So first, let me define you what is transfer of learning. Transfer of learning happens when learning in one context or with one set of materials affects performance in another context or with other related materials. Simply put, it is applying to another situation what was previously learned. For example, learning to use roller skates later helps a person to learn more quickly to ice skate. Learning to get along with classmates in preschool helps the child adjust and relate well with classmates in the big school, or even playing highly competitive online computer games might even make one a better strategic thinker in politics or business. Transfer is a very significant concept in education and learning theory because most of those concerned in education aim to achieve transfer. Types of transfer. First, positive transfer. It occurs when learning in one context improves performance in some other context. For instance, a speaker of Spanish would find it easier to learn Mexican language than Japanese. Second is negative transfer. It occurs when learning in one context impacts negatively in performance in another. For example, learners commonly assimilate a new language's phonetics to good approximation in their native tongue and use word orders carried over from their native tongue. Example, there may be a tendency for a Visayan-speaking child to frequently interchange the E and I sound when speaking English. With experience, however, learners correct the effects of negative transfer. Third is near transfer. It refers to transfer between very similar contexts. This is also referred to as specific transfer. For example, when students answer types of algebra word problems in an exam which are similar to what they had in their set works, or when a student is learning to use a new cell phone that is somehow similar to the one she had before. Fourth is far transfer. It refers to transfer between contexts that on appearance seem remote and alien to one another. This is also called general transfer. For example, Stephen Covey applied the lesson of that Aesop fable of the goose that lays the golden eggs to managing corporations. He said we should take care of the goose rather than kill it. To be successful in business, we should take care of our workers, not burden them. So those are the types of transfer. Conditions and principles of transfer. These principles are based on the factors that affect transfer of learning. These factors are similar to what Perkins termed as conditions of transfer. So as you can see on the screen, you will find the factors with the consequent principles and educational implications. So there are three columns as you can see on the screen. So the first column titled Condition Factors Affecting Transfer of Learning. The second column titled Principle of Transfer, and the third column Implication. So the first on the condition factors affecting transfer of learning is similarity between two learning situations. Next is degree of meaningfulness, relevance of learning. Third is length of instructional time. The first principle of transfer is the more similar the two situations are, the greater the chances that learning from one situation will be transferred to the other situation. Next, in meaningful learning leads to greater transfer than rote learning. Next, the longer the time spent in the instruction, the greater the probability of transfer. The first, in the implication, involves students in learning situation and tasks that are similar as possible to the situations where they would apply the task. Next, remember to provide opportunities for learners to link new material to what they learned in the past. Next, to ensure transfer, teach a few topics in depth rather than many topics tackled in a shallow manner. So, next is the continuation of the first column as you can see on the previous slide. So, variety of learning experiences. Next is the context for learners' experiences. Next, focus on principles rather than tasks. And lastly, it emphasis on metacognition. Principle of transfer, exposure to many and varied examples and opportunities for practice encourages transfer. Next, transfer of learning is most likely to happen when learners discover that what they learn is applicable to various contexts. Next, principles transfer easier than facts. The last is student reflection improves transfer of learning. Implication: illustrate new concepts and principles with a variety of examples. Plan activities that allow your learners to practice their newly learned skills. Next is relate a topic in one subject to topics in other subjects or disciplines. Relate it also to real-life situations. Next, zero in on principles related to each topic, together with strategies based on those principles. Last, encourage students to take responsibility for their own learning and to reflect on what they learn. My learning or insight of this topic. My takeaways from this session: transfer is the process of transferring one's knowledge and abilities to new settings, and it is a major aim of education. Despite the fact that all learning requires some degree of transfer, research demonstrates that successfully and flexibly applying information is challenging. Students may be able to demonstrate their knowledge in class and on tests, but they may not be able to apply it in other situations. When students have a poor comprehension of acquired information and are unaware of how, where, and when their obtained knowledge is suitable, transfer is more likely to fail. So I prepare an assessment task, only 3 items, so we can see if you learned something from my discussion. Don't restrict yourself. Many individuals limit themselves to what they feel they are capable of. You can go as far as your mind allows. Remember, you can achieve what you believe. Presented by Russell and M. Descartes, taking a Bachelor of Physical Education, first year college.